Alright class, welcome. I know I'm wearing something that I've never worn in the classroom before, but it has to do with today's lesson. So, I'm back. Thank you for bearing with me last week, or bearing with us, as you had a guest speaker with Mrs. Colson. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed listening to her lessons along with you guys. And we're moving on now. Using what we learned last week, we're going to see how one energy type converts into another. So we learned about our energies such as potential, kinetic, the things that fall into those lines like chemical potential and vibrational energy and sound energy. So, looking at those, I'm going to use cooking to show us how one energy type transfers into another. Also, I just really like cooking, so it pays out for me. Also, welcome to my living room and kitchen. It's a mess. It's our rating of the Parks and Rec characters. We did a little bracket to see which was the best Park and Rec character. If you like Parks and Recreation, my favorite character was Andy. But we'll do cooking, and I'll get back to you after we do that. Alright, so we're at my stove. And so we're going to see how energy is transferred from a stovetop all the way to creating something that you can eat. So cooking is all about the transfer of energy from one thing to another. I'll start by turning on my stove. So I turn on to a low heat. So what's happening right now, you can see as this heats up, the electric energy is being turned into thermal energy. And that thermal energy is also giving us a radiant energy type. So you can see this is turning, if I can turn it up a little bit, a red color. It's lighting up because it's causing that heat, that transfer of energy into both radiant energy and thermal energy. Electric to radiant to thermal. So, now that we have that heated up, I'm going to move my pan over onto the stove. So this thermal energy that's coming from the electrical energy is transferred up and through this, making it start to get warm. Alright, so as this heats up, as that thermal energy is passed through, next I'm going to put some butter on the pan. Now this is just a personal preference thing. This is for flavor. And it also adds an extra barrier of protection. It disperses that thermal energy as we go. And it also, if we look back at one of our past lessons, it gives it a buffer between the surface and what's going to go on there, so it makes it reduced friction, if we remember what we talked about with that. So, we have butter on here, we have the stove hot, we have our pan getting hot, and now I'm going to take this egg. So, inside this egg, there's millions of chemical bonds making up the yolk, making up the whites of the egg. And that leads to chemical potential energy because those bonds have the potential to break and release energy with that break. So, chemical potential energy is stored all inside of this egg. So, as I crack the egg, I can lift it over. Has potential energy because it's high, turn to kinetic energy when it falls. So now I'm cooking. That thermal energy is being passed from the stove to the pan, and now it's transferred into the egg where it's breaking the bonds. That chemical potential energy is now breaking and releasing that energy. So, hopefully, we'll get some other types of energies as this cooks. I'm going to try to keep it all together. I broke my yolk, which is unfortunate, but I'm still going to get the shape I want. Alright, so hopefully it's picking up that sound. I'll move the camera a little closer. It's sizzling, it's popping, it's making that sound, that thermal energy passing through. The energy is also breaking in these bonds. These chemical bonds are breaking, releasing energy, and you can hear it as sound energy. And it's also vibrating. You can see it moving and vibrating. So that vibrational energy is also coming from the breaking of those bonds as this cooks. Alright, hopefully we'll get a good sizzle when I flip this. Alright, so we got that sizzle going. That sound energy is being released. Vibrational, because it's vibrating and cooking. That heat is transferring. So we went from the electrical energy from the stove, turning into thermal energy. That thermal energy passed through this pan. It went into the egg, and that caused the chemical potential energy to be broken and spent to make more thermal energy, sound energy, and vibrational energy. Now, something we haven't really talked about yet, as far as the energies we've already discussed, I am applying mechanical energy to this egg when I flip it. So the spatula has potential energy as it's raised up. I give it kinetic energy to move it, and the potential plus kinetic energy is mechanical energy that is used to flip it. So that looks done enough to me. Turn off my heat, just so you can know what my snack is today. I made this arepa about a couple days ago. Just reusing it. Put the egg on top of there. Bam, I got a nice snack. And also, we learned about the transfer of energy. So, this will stay. There we go. The transfer of one energy type to another. Remember, energy is not created or destroyed. It's just transferred to another type of energy. So, went from the electrical energy from the stove heating up. That electrical energy turned into thermal, as I said, with the heating up. And it passed through the pan into the egg. That egg had chemical potential energy stored in it because of all the chemical bonds in the egg. And those were released as thermal, sound, and vibrational energy when it was cooking. So we move from one type to another, conserving that energy as we go. None of it is lost or gained spontaneously. So that is the conservation of energy from one source to another. So that is going to be what your homework's over, the transfer of one energy type to another. If you have any questions, don't forget to email me, or you can request a Zoom call, and I'll be happy to get on a call with you as you go through the homeworks. So, good luck with that, and thank you for watching. Okay, just a little update. It's going to give it a taste. Put some salsa on here as well. Nice arepa, egg and salsa. It's delicious. Thank you for watching my cooking channel, because cooking is all about science. Delicious.